Good morning, guys. From US intelligence, we could have World War III by this week. Now, before we go on, guys, right, I just want to talk about something I've been saying on this channel for the longest time about these F-16s in Ukraine. Now, I've been saying for months and months and months that these F-16s, first of all, won't be flown by Ukrainian pilots. And I've said that they won't be flown from Ukraine, they'll be flown from Poland. Now, the reason I said this is because I saw these seedlings of media reports. In the first instance, I saw, months and months back when I saw the Polish pilots saying, oh, if we could just, while we go up to intercept these missiles, if we could just fire on these missiles that are over Ukrainian airspace, we could intercept them and then we could save a load of civilian lives. And while that is true, guys, and 100% that's true, I saw that as the seedlings for what we're seeing happening now. I also said, I said there's not enough Ukrainian pilots to fly these things. You can't just give these people like a couple of weeks training and expect them to fly these F-16s competently. Yes, you could probably learn them to fly them, but learning the tactics, learning the maneuverability of those aircraft and being able to operate those aircraft in combat, you can't do that without a ton of experience. And you only get experience with time, and time is what the Ukrainians don't have. Now, I said, and guys, go check through my videos. And if you can remember me saying it, guys, drop a comment in the comments below. Now, I said that these will be flown by ex-NATO pilots, and the mechanism to get them in the cockpit of these aircraft would be the NATO pilots would join the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. So then they would essentially be Ukrainian pilots then, and they would be funded by some sort of non-governmental organization, whereby they're not actually paying them, but they're giving them money as a per diem, and so a per diem would be money you spend on yourself per day. So that's for magazines, food, hotel, all that sort of stuff. Now, you can give somebody $1,000 a day per diem, and that is not pay. That goes straight into their bank account. These NGOs can say, no, we're not paying anyone. And that's fine. They're not paying them. They're giving them life support. But you see the blurred lines there, guys, all right? You see that grey area. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this, guys, all right? I'm just telling you what I see happening and what I see is going to happen in the future. Now, let me share this with you. Now, keep that in mind, guys, and then let me just share this with you quickly that came out 11 hours ago. Where are we? Here we are. Lo and behold, Ukraine seeks retired F-16 pilots to fly its jets while it trains new pilots. So they're not going to be training any new pilots. They're just going to be using, people with experience. US officials say only 20 Ukrainian airmen in US, Dutch, and Danish training programs are expected to be ready to fly the F-16s this year. So here's the call, guys. So here's like the job advert. If you are a retired F-16 pilot, your services may be wanted in Ukraine. That's according to Senator Lindsey Graham in comments made just after meeting with President Zelensky in Kiev. If you're a retired F-16 pilot and you're looking to fight for freedom, they will hire you here, Graham said. They're going to look throughout NATO nations for willing fighter pilots, who retired to come help them until they can get their pilots trained. So we are going to get these jets in the air sooner rather than later. The first 10 F-16s arrived in Ukraine at the end of July. Double that number should be flying by the end of this year. But the pipeline for training Ukrainian pilots is a narrow one. US officials say only 20 airmen. So basically, they only have 20 airmen that are ready to fly. Experts say you typically need 2 pilots for every aircraft. So, the article just goes on. But so there you have it, guys. Exactly what I said would happen. Now, again, I said this would happen long ago, and I'm saying again, these aircraft are not going to be flown from Ukraine. They're going to be flown from Poland. The Russians know exactly where they are. Now, the mechanics of this and how this will work, it doesn't really matter. The reality is it's going to happen. what we can see from this article is it's happening, you know, as I said. Now, that's not a big, you know, I told you so. I'm just bringing this out because you know, when I say these things and I put these, you know, and I show you guys the seedlings in the weeds and I say, look, guys, this is going to evolve into this. And then it does. It's just confirmation, guys. So you guys can share my stuff and give me a like and a follow because I really appreciate that. But anyway, guys, so US intelligence, where are we? Oh, I think I've deleted it. Oh, that's embarrassing. No, there we are. So, Middle East crisis. Iran attack on Israel could be this week, US intelligence says. The US says it shares concerns from Israel that attack is... It's terrible English. Must be written by an American. The US shares its concerns from Israel that an attack is increasingly likely, but it remains unclear what shape it will take. Now, guys, there's no hesitation here. There's going to be no hesitation here from the Iranians. They will strike when they're ready. But what I think guys, everybody is understanding now is when this goes in the Middle East, that's just going to be it. You know, there's going to be no flim-flammering. There's going to be no political maneuvering. It's just going to be what it is, guys. Sorry, Sarah is messaging me about sales and stuff. Anyway, so that's just the reality, guys, all right? I think everybody understands now in the Middle East, everybody understands in Russia, everybody understands in Ukraine that once this Middle East thing kicks off, there's going to be no hiding it anymore. There's going to be no political maneuvering to say we're not in World War III. I think everybody's going to understand once this happens that that's just going to be it and the gloves are going to be off. Now, Israel has said, look, if has said to Iran, look, if you attack us, no matter what the outcome, we are going to attack you and that's going to be it. So what I think everybody is doing at the moment, everybody is understanding once this happens and the inevitability happens, they just need to be prepared. So I don't think this Iranian attack is going to be a symbolic one like the last one. I think this is going to be an attack on Israel from all angles. Because when you do when you're starting a war, the country or the person that escalates their violence to 10 first, they're usually the winners. So I think that's what's happening at the moment. Now, let me just, sorry, where are we? Yeah. Also, there was a letter written by, if I'll show you the actual thing from the government website. Where is it? So this is from the official UK government website, and I'll put all these links in the description. So this is kind of important, guys, okay? So the British Prime Minister had a call with President, I'm not going to try and pronounce that name, guys, President Pezeshkian or whatever, of Iran on the 12th of August. So this is the official, the official the official word from the British Prime Minister of what was said. British Prime Minister spoke to the President this evening. The Prime Minister said he was deeply concerned about the region. And guys, the bottom bit's the most important. The Prime Minister also raised concerns of foreign detainees in Iran, adding that it is vital they receive the necessary medical care, which is fair. And then he goes on, the leaders agreed that a constructive dialogue between the UK and Iran was in both countries' interests. Absolutely fair. You can't deny that. And then here it is, guys. So the whole, the whole transcript, this kind of annuls it all. The Prime Minister added that could only be furthered if Iran ceased its destabilizing actions, including threats against individuals in the United Kingdom, and did not further aid Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So basically what that, what this whole conversation says there, guys, and I'm just, reading between the lines, what that conversation says there is, right, guys, we want to do all this good stuff, and then it gives them like a ridiculous ultimatum at the end. Of course, Iran are not going to stop aiding their allies, Russia. because the British Prime Minister says so. It's, you know, it's ridiculously arrogant of the British Prime Minister to say that when he can't even look after his own country. So that's basically what they've said. They've said, you know, do all this cool stuff, PC, 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 politically correct. I'm cool, but stop supporting your own allies. Guys, you know, we've got to understand there's other cultures here. There's other, you know, there's other, what's the word I'm looking for? There's other, you know, involvement, and other countries have other agendas. And that's just the reality of the situation. And that's why these conflicts, this conflict that's coming, it looks like it's going to be even more deadly. Sorry, guys, I was up late last night watching the the meteor shower with my little girl. So that's kind of the and then there's another article that I'll put in the description that kind of, you know, talks about how Keir Starmer was, you know, he was tough talking the Israeli leader, and, you know, everything was you know, and then they did this letter. I think it was Britain, Germany, France, basically a load of European nations, and they're saying to Iran now, they've done a joint letter to Iran, and they're saying, look, Iran, basically don't attack Israel because it's going to kick off a huge war, but also don't kick off, and also stop supplying Russia with weapons. So it's kind of ridiculous, the whole thing. It's just pomp, and it is just pomp. So the beginning of this video, guys, you know, we start talking about the US intelligence and how they've said that this Middle East conflict could kick off within this week. Now, I always say, and it's not 100%, but I always say things happen on a Friday. You know, in the Middle East, the Friday is a holiday, so you get less people at work. All around the world, you get less people wanting to go to work. It's the summer holidays, so you've got kids off school, people wanting to finish early. Everybody could be honest. If you're at work, your boss usually lets you go early on a Friday, and that's the same with the military. That's the same with the police. That's the same with all the services. So on a Friday, you will have less people at work. Right now, as we are in this summer holidays in the United Kingdom, and, you know, most of the world, kids are off school, people are on holidays, so it's a lot harder to what's the word I'm looking for? To muster a response, because people are not here. That's why when this Andrew Bridgen interview came out, and Andrew Bridgen said, you know, this war is going to be declared either July, August, or a little bit later, I said, okay. My initial thoughts, guys, and you can look back through the records, was right. It's probably going to go in the summer holidays, because of the reasons I've just said. Less people in work, it's harder to deal with. You know, you can call, you know, for example, you can call the defense secretary. It's not secretary, is it, in the UK? Defense minister back. You can call the defense minister back. Fine. What about his advisors? Okay, right, yeah, his advisors, we can call two of them back, but one of them's uncontactable. He's in Magaluf or whatever. Right, okay, he's got a certain information and it's on his laptop. Right, can we get the password? No, we can't get the password because we can't get into contact with him. Right, can we send... So you see where I'm going, guys, all right? All this stuff, it just adds to the cauldron of chaos. That's why I think the time we're in now, these holidays, because people are away, this is absolutely crucial. Now, like I said, this could happen Friday. I did a video last week. Yeah, last week I said, guys, be ready for Friday, because I thought last Friday was the earliest time that this response could happen. Now, this response is going to happen. The Iranian response is going to happen, guys. It's inevitable. You know, there's no going back. You've got to understand this culture. So let's put yourself in that situation now, all right? The Iranian response happens, and let's go full scales. The Iranian response is such that Iran and their allies decide to do a coordinated attack on Israel. In response to this, you have British, American jets defending Israel's airspace unsuccessfully. You have the Russians firing a mass attack on Kiev. You know, can you imagine the chaos? People out in the street protesting, people counter-protesting, all sorts of stuff going wrong. What we've seen from the United Kingdom over the last couple of weeks is the United Kingdom is a hotbed of tension. So concurrently to that, you will have Iranian trolls, you will have Russian trolls, you will have all sorts of bot farms trying to fan the flames of division in our nation. Guys, can you imagine trying to get to the shop for anything, anything, trying to get to the shop? So what I'll say now is just try, and if you can, and I understand not everybody's going to be in that, in that capacity, but if you can now, just try and think about your own 3 core items, whatever they are, whatever you use the most. Whether that, guys, and I don't know what these are. In fact, do you know what? I'll give you from our family. From our family, it would be, do you know what? From our family, it'd probably be charcoal for the barbecue, ribeye, and barbecue sauce. No, guys, I'm joking. Think about your essentials, whatever your essentials are with your family. So do you need any medication? Do you need any, can you stay in your house for 3 days? Because these protests that happen, the ones in the ISOP, especially in the ones in Rotherham, when the police managed to reinforce the police on the ground. By the way, those police that were there on the ground, I've heard from, and again, it's unconfirmed, but I've heard that it was that bad in the Rotherham protests or riots. They had to call in transport police with no arm, with no public order training, and every man and his dog was there. They had to call people from Cheshire, from Manchester. That was like, the main event, I guess. And I said on my video, if you go look back through it, I said the police can't hold this building. If the protesters had have pushed maybe 10% harder, or the rioters, that building now, we could have seen a whole different dimension to this incident on the streets, guys, because that really did have the potential to go bad. It even got to a stage, and I didn't mention this at the time because I didn't want anybody to, I didn't want any violence there. What I saw is the police go inside and then come back out with soft hats on. And that's a tactic that they, that the police use, or the military, I guess anybody uses really, to make it look like you've got a bigger force. So the ones with all the riot shields went inside, and then really quickly they took all their armor off as quick as they could and came back out with their soft hats on. So it looked like that was a different unit. So it looked like they were, they had the guys in riot shields, and they also had the guys in soft hats and soft uniforms. They didn't. They just had that one unit there, guys. All right, and they were so close to getting overrun. Anyway, what I'm saying is, once the main body got there, so the main reinforcements, and it was like battalion strength. Once they got there, they divided these protesters up and then pushed them into the housing estates. Now, if you lived in that housing estate, you're not going out. Now, how long are those people going to be trapped in those houses? How long are they going to have to stay indoors? That's what I'm saying, guys, all right? That is the reality of this situation. Make sure right now you identify your 3 core items, whatever it is you need, and just go and get them, enough to stay locked down in your house. And it's also good practice just to have them, as a reserve for a rainy day, I guess. Because if they're your 3 core items, guess what? They're your 3 core items. You're going to use them. And, I said this before. The price of food at the moment, it is absolutely skyrocketing. So everybody's wanting to, put their money somewhere if they've got, excess cash. And I just put it in food, okay? Trust me, when the banks go off and all your, what did we see? Like a couple of, when the big crash was, I think it was it last week or? Yeah, I think it was last week, I think Monday, when this big stock market crash was, all the online trading apps, well, not all of them, but a lot of them went down and they stopped working. Now, you can say that's because they turned them off because the big shareholders wanted to keep the money, and I'm not saying that's happened. But you could also say that there was that many people trying to use them that the system and the servers that were used to taking, I don't know, X amount of, transactions per hour now had times X amount of transactions per hour. So the server probably couldn't just, couldn't process them. So that's the end of the sorry guys, I've been going on for quite a while. So the jokes of this video, guys, okay, US intelligence says that World War III could be erupting within a week. Make sure you get your 3 core items, and look at the articles I put at the end in the description to this video, guys, where it says now that the US are openly calling for F-16 pilots to fly in Ukraine. Guys, that's it. I'm going to back to grid, and I will see you guys later.